Smackdown.
What up, players? It's the morning after with Nick and Big J. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Wednesday. Welcome to the 26th day of March, 2025, Big J.
Crazy, man. March is almost over.
It's true. I mean, you got yourself listen, by my math, there's less than a week left in this month.
Yeah.
And then, before you know it, Big J, April will be here. And then I'm guessing 2 or 3 weeks after that, April will almost be over.
Oh.
No. X-Fest is October 1st, 2025. So we got a little bit of a stretch before we have to worry about that.
All right.
But time flies, Big J, which is why you got to make the most of it. When it's right there in front of you, you have to make sure you take advantage of what it's giving you.
Yeah.
And what it's offering with open hands. Big J, do you clasp that hand or do you push it away?
Depends. If I'm about to punch something, then I clasp it.
So that you can drag it closer?
Yeah.
You can
Tiny dancer.
You can improve your reach and your turn radius so that you can clock it right in the head. So you're anytime something is offered to you, you want to punch it.
Just out of defensive, that seems strange. Why would that happen?
You're in my personal area. I now have to defend myself. Is your instant reaction.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Now you all have been warned. Don't try to shake Big J's hand. He'll clasp it, pull you in, and punch you. Because you dared to infiltrate his space. And listen, you can't say you didn't warn us, Big J, so thank you for that, at least.
You're welcome.
Welcome to Wednesday. Today, listen, guys, we don't have a major concert announcement. We don't have a major guest. Today's just one of those regular morning afters where you sit down for 4 straight hours, you stare at your radio, and you just go, God, that was a good show. Those guys know what they're doing. We are here to entertain, inform you, and educate you, and hopefully combine all three of that together in a nice little radio goulash that makes you happy that you tuned in. That's our goal. We also will bribe you with prizes. That's a guarantee. We have Machine Head and Under Oath tickets to give you if you want to hang around and listen. We have an opportunity for you to win $2,025. There's a little thing we call inflation domination, Big J. An opportunity for you to play around and text us and win some serious cash, which is always something that I feel could come in handy if it's something that you want to do. Now, is that something you agree or disagree with, Big J?
Agreed.
I throw $2,025 in your hand right now. What are you doing with it?
I'm going to go stage 1 on my Indian and get some new pipes on that bad boy.
Instantly a selfish purchase. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Not for your family or loved ones. Right
No.
to something that you want on a brand new motorcycle that probably doesn't need them.
Actually, I need a new helmet, so I'd probably get that first.
That's safety. I like that. And so we're looking for you to be that particular winner today. So best of luck to everybody involved. That's going to happen a little bit after 9 o'clock. And then we play music on this very radio station. So let's get started with some Foo Fighters, shall we? Times like these, kicking things off on the morning after with Nick and Big J on the X.
Important stuff.
What's going on in the news today?
The morning after with Nick and Big J.
Big J, you and your family are well-traveled. You have flown a lot collectively. You take a lot of flights. You do a lot of traveling.
That's right.
In all of your travels, have you or a loved one that you're close to ever flown out of the Caldwell airport?
No.
Never happened.
I take that back. I mean, Kyle has.
Okay, that counts.
Kyle's got a friend who has a pilot's license, and they've flown out of there a couple times.
That absolutely 100% counts. And if you have flown out of the Caldwell airport, you should know there could be some serious changes happening to that particular airport. City leaders are pursuing some major improvements, including adding a 116-foot tall control tower, Big J.
Ooh.
It is one of the most populated airports in terms of aircrafts based in the nation without a control tower, according to the director of aviation there at the city of Caldwell. Now, the city has applied for the much-needed $21 million tower through an FAA program. We'll see if they end up getting it, but the airport handles about 150,000 flights in and out each year, which is a lot, Big J.
I lied. I've flown out of there many times in Microsoft Flight Simulator.
No, that does not count. I'm sorry.
Crashed a couple times.
I'm sorry. Do not say things like that. It doesn't count. Unlike Big J, Scott Swanson, the director of aviation, says that safety is a top concern in the Caldwell airport, and so he wants to make sure that they are building this tower to ensure the safety of the people flying in and out of that particular airport. So know that it could get a new look. We're ways away from this happening, but it is something they'd like to do moving forward, and they've announced plans to try to pursue it. So we'll see if it all goes down and gets happening. Big J, we've all heard about athletes getting part-time jobs during their off seasons, but it's a bit weird to have a head football coach do the same thing. Florida A&M coach James Colty lit up the sports internet when he was spotted on an ESPN broadcast serving as an umpire for an NCAA Division I softball game. Now, it's not a new job for James. He's been serving as an umpire for Big Ten and SEC games since he was assistant coach in Division II way back in 2009. But there are some fans of Florida A&M that are upset that their head coach is doing other things and not focusing on football. Big J, shouldn't those people shut up?
Yeah, shut up.
I mean, the guy's doing something. I mean, yeah, it's an umpire job. It's not that big of a deal. But I guess if you don't live and breathe football, you get insulted by it for some reason.
Well, some people should. Aaron Rodgers is one of them.
What?
You should focus on football.
Oh, sure. It'd be nice. No,
but in this case, they can live their lives. They have other interests and want to do things. I mean, geez.
Now, let me ask you this. Would you be upset if, like, Spencer Danielson had another job besides Boise State football coach? Would that be an insult?
I would, but only because of how much money he's making as the head coach of the Boise State Broncos.
Well, my guess is he's probably not struggling. I mean, Florida A&M's not a powerhouse, mind you, but it might be. I'm sure he's making a living wage as the head football coach of that. This appears to be a passion. It just also happens to be a part-time job. It's not like, I don't think umpiring like sucks up a whole bunch of your time. It's like 3 hours on like a Tuesday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's off season, so I don't.
It's not even a full-time job in the majors.
No, Major League Baseball it is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
that's an entire thing.
NFL referees are the only officials that aren't full-time in any sport.
It's the league that makes the most money.
So
can afford to pay them.
Yeah, that's the only thing the NFL is lacking in for sure. Big J, would you like a little tea when it comes to the Food Network?
Yeah. Oh, I know the tea, but yeah.
Bobby Flay.
Deep in it.
Oh, you're versed in all this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, then you tell me.
So Bobby Flay, he's got some relationship issues. Okay, and so I don't know how this is going to work out for this, but Bobby Flay, of course, has Beat Bobby Flay, a whole bunch of shows in the Food Network. Brooke Williamson is a very popular chef there on the Food Network, owns a lot of Southern California restaurants.
One Top Chef in season 14.
Top Chef, yes. She won Tournament of Champions, and she's phenomenal. She's great to watch. She does guys' grocery games, all that stuff, does the judging, but they have finally hooked up and have officially become a relationship. She got divorced last year.
That's the controversy. Her divorce was finalized late last year, but they went public as of 2 weeks ago with their relationship, and people are wondering, did Bobby Flay get in on that action before the marriage was broken up? Because
I don't see how he hasn't done this with a bunch of the ladies of the Food Network.
Ugh, you make him sound creepy.
Yeah, he's kind of, he's been married a couple times and divorced,
3.
and cheating was amongst some of the reasons that those things ended.
It's almost like you're saying if you want to be successful in the Food Network, you better get it on with Bobby Flay.
I mean, I'm not here to throw those barbs or not, but at least on the East Coast.
So if the shoe fits.
I feel like there's a division in the Food Network. There's the East Coast and West Coast. West Coast is Guy Fieri. East Coast is Bobby Flay.
Like the hip-hop rivalry in the 90s.
Yeah.
You think they'll both end up dead?
Them. They don't do a lot of stuff. They've done, I think, a couple things together. But other than that, you never see them in the same space together.
Is that why Bobby Flay's always screaming East Side when I see him on the TV?
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering what it's about.
And he makes that weird finger thing. Like, whoa, what's going on there? But my thing is, Brooke, when this relationship goes bad, I mean, what happens to Brooke Williamson?
Yeah, they're not going to part ways with Bobby Flay, that's for sure.
Yeah. And so I don't know if that's a great move. So they must really love each other.
The heart wants what the heart wants. Yeah. Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your Food Network tea, and that's your important stuff. We got a world premiere for you next on the X Rocks. Jam Better Man here on the Morning After with Nick and Big J. Gosh, if only we had something to tie into yesterday's huge X Fest 2025 announcement, that would be cool. Like maybe like a world premiere of something, Big J. Do you think that would be a good idea?
Yeah, that would be great.
All right, let's say our headliner Chevelle decided they want to drop a new song. Can we play the world premiere of that?
Yeah, we absolutely should do that.
Then what is the name of the song people are about to hear?
Rabbit Hole, Cowards Part 1.
All right, get ready. It's the world premiere of brand new Chevelle on the X Rocks. Damn, dude. Brand new Chevelle Rabbit Hole Cowards Part 1 here on the morning after with Nick and Big J. See that band live at XFest 2025 as announced yesterday, coming with Asking Alexandria, Dead Poet Society, and more. Tickets on sale on Friday. Bob, Big J, could you imagine him on, Chevelle on stage at XFest? They start jamming out that song. Pete looks you right in the eye, starts winking, pointing at you. God.
But that would be weird.
Huh?
That'd be weird.
Why?
Because it's usually Sam who does that.
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough. Listen, they're brothers. Both of them can wink, right? So get ready. It's going to be awesome. That's a damn good song, man. You're going to hear a lot more of that here on the X as we get ready for X Fest. Pumped up for it. Hopefully you are as well. It's the morning after with Nick and Big J. Big J watched a movie yesterday. You're going to learn all about it next on the X Rocks. That is Disturbed. I Will Not Break here on the morning after with Nick and Big J. Yesterday, you guys selected a movie for Big J to watch, courtesy of Streaming Dumbass. That movie was called Elevation. You can find it on Max. Big J, who's in it? What's it about? Was it any good?
Yeah, who's in it? Well, let's start off with the stars here. Anthony Mackie. Of course, you know him now as Captain America or former The Falcon. Morena Baccarin. How do we pronounce her last name?
Baccarin, I believe.
Baccarin. She is an actress who's been in many things, including Deadpool movies, and those are the main characters here in this movie, Elevation, which takes place, Nick, the setting is the future a little bit, and the Colorado area, close there to Boulder, Colorado, in the mountains. And they're in the mountains, Nick, because there was an incident that happened in the world. Creatures from the earth came up and killed 95% of the population.
Sure,
for the
we've
most
been
part,
there.
right away. So you got
Chuds.
this post-apocalyptic. No, they're called Reapers.
Oh.
And there's this post-apocalyptic vibe to it. And the thing is that you learn right away in this movie that it's called Elevation because for whatever reason, these Reapers, they won't go past 8,000 feet of elevation. So that's where the safety is. And so many survivors have formed up towns. And, we've seen that diatribe many times before of what's going to happen when the end of the world comes about. And so there is some issues where some are trying to figure out what's going on. Others are just trying to live their life. Anthony Mackie's character, Will, his son, who is younger, he has a lung disease. And so he's running out of medicine and he needs to go down below the line to Boulder to get said medicine. And that's his thing. He lost his wife in a terrible situation when they were trying to figure out if there's a way to kill these Reapers. By the way, they can't seem to do that. And you have this unfold and they have to go on this journey. Nina, who is Morena Baccarin, she's kind of like, I guess, I'm going to say a doctor. Like she's kind of an expert. She kind of had an idea of what was going on. It was her fault that Will's wife got killed, etc. And so there's some guilt there and that sort of thing. And then she goes with them and they try to figure this out. Here's the problem with this movie. I'll say this. Small budget. It looks really good for a small budget. You're in the elevation and you're in Colorado. So there's great landscapes. All of those things are awesome. The Reapers themselves, which make an appearance quite a bit through the movie, are really well done. They look like they're a cross between CGI and practical effects. They spent their money on that, and I think it looked great. They didn't spend their money on some other effects that looked really bad, like gunfire and just things like that looked really, really bad. And so that's where the budget went. I feel like as I was watching this movie, this would have made a better series than it would have a movie, just because it's not a very long movie, but the character development is pretty decent in it. But there's just not a lot happening. There's not a lot of action. And when it does happen, it's pretty brief. And the story as it rolls out, it makes sense, especially with the cliffhanger they have at the end. That this, almost feels like it was meant to be a TV series, like season 2. Here's what's going to happen. I didn't get that vibe, at least in the movie, that I felt like it was a complete thought out type of thing. And the acting was fine. Everything was fine. But it was just kind of meh. So I'm not going to approve this movie.
All right. We are back to below the line for movies of the year.
Way to go. Way to use the parlance of this time, dude.
To make sure that we're keeping track of movies this year that Big J liked or did not like. This one falls in the did not like category. So you knew you were in trouble when it was post-apocalyptic alien movie, right? Like, that's not your
Yeah,
vibe. You
yeah.
don't enjoy those type of movies.
Yeah, yes, and I won't ruin it. I'll ruin the ending for everybody, so I'll just do it for you when we get off the air.
That's fine. Morning After with Nick and Big J. Avoid elevation, says Big J. We got some important stuff. It's next on the X Rocks.
And Big J.
I'm sorry, Big J. I'm going to put you on the spot.
You
But,
usually do. I'm used to it.
Is there a product, food or otherwise, that used to be available that was a huge favorite of yours, but no longer is something that you can purchase anywhere, and you miss it enormously?
Not yet. I mean, it's pretty close. Pretty close. In fact, it's a hot sauce.
Okay.
Mazzetta's hot sauce. It's a habanero hot sauce that one of the more popular grocery stores here used to sell, stopped selling, and it couldn't find it anywhere. And I had to order it from the company, and it came from Canada. I had a whole case of it because I'm crazy.
And now you're almost out?
No, that passed, and then it's available at another store now. But for that brief period of time, it wasn't for sale anywhere.
Did you have to pay a premium to get it shipped to you?
A premium I got yelled at for.
Okay.
What are you getting this from Canada for? The shipping cost was unbelievable.
Then this probably is something that you fall in the category of. A research study recently found out that 2/3 of Americans would pay a ridiculous amount of money for some of their favorite products that they can't get a hold of anymore. Of the 20,000 respondents that went after it, a bunch of people listed things like, Sega Entertainment Systems or the regular Nintendo consoles or BlackBerry phones or iPods or other kind of things that just no longer are in service that they're very nostalgic about or mean a lot to them.
Zunes.
That they would pay a lot of money for because money can't buy a lot of things, but it can lean into that nostalgia that we talk about. And it really is a large mitigating factor on why we do some things sometimes. And especially if there's a food product out there that we really, really like that we can't get a hold of anymore, we're willing to spend usually what would be 2 or 3 times the amount of money it would be if it were on the shelves to get that once again because we like that nostalgia or we like that flavor and it's difficult for us to find.
Yeah, Goldbelly is a great example of a place you can get that. Let's say you move from the East Coast here, you can't get Cat's Deli. But you love it so much. You love the pastrami piled so high. How do you do it? You order from Goldbelly, but it costs a premium.
Yeah. And, have you ever done that? Have you ever done Goldbelly?
I haven't. No, I
worry about the food quality.
I really considered it. You should ask the person who won. You remember we did that contest?
Yeah, but
years ago?
when we give away grand prizes, we never hear from these people again. That's how it works.
Like they don't even exist.
It's like, thanks for everything. Now you're dead.
I have not. I can't imagine it'd be that different than any of the other food, like delivery services you've used. I know in the past.
Well, but it's different because it's coming from another part of the country. So I wonder how,
it's not like when you did one of those other food deliveries that they came in town.
What do you mean food delivery? Give me an
Haven't
example.
you ever HelloFresh? Factor? I know you use Factor.
Yeah, but that's stuff that you make. Like you actually build. You put that thing.
Sure, but they're ingredients that are together. You know what I mean?
I don't think you build the Cat's Deli sandwich. I think it comes like like flash frozen or something ready to go. I just wonder if it would taste like it would coming out of the restaurant.
It must,
That's
or
my
else
question.
they wouldn't be in business.
I guess you're right. Big J, bad news if you're a Milwaukee Bucks fan. Damian Lillard found out yesterday he has a blood clot in his right calf.
No!
He is out indefinitely, which severely impacts the Milwaukee Bucks playoff hopes.
God.
And the rest of their possible season. Listen, I am a Bucks fan. I love that team to death. But they weren't doing anything this year. It breaks my heart.
Again, probably.
It breaks my heart to say that. But the Damian Lillard trade might have been the thing that blew up this team.
Which was trying to help make it stronger.
Yeah, it really, honly, it was trading away Drew Holiday. They should never have traded away Holiday.
But wasn't he struggling? Like, wasn't it working out great?
They won the championship because of him.
Well, why would they trade him away
Because Damian Lillard's a superstar, and they figured so when Drew Holiday was on the team, they struggled making three-pointers without Chris Middleton in the lineup, who was somebody that was injured a lot. Mm-hmm. Damian Lillard brings that three-point threat for sure, but what it also decreases significantly with all the elements the Bucks had to ship away to get him was that team can't play defense to save their damn life anymore.
Yeah, there's not a lot of teams in the NBA who can.
I know, but you got guys that are. I mean, every team is putting up 125 a game against the Bucks.
That's because nobody can play defense.
And it's just. But the Celtics could, and they won the championship last year. Who do you think their point guard was, by the way? Drew Holiday.
Damian Lillard?
No, Drew Holiday was their point guard. And so that screwed up the team. I love Damian Lillard. I think he's fantastic. He's one of the best players in the NBA. It's just a bummer that it's another tough season for the Milwaukee Bucks fans. So to the three of you that are listening I feel your pain. Big J, Ben Affleck thinks he's figured out why nobody cared about his Batman and the Snyderverse and why it wanted to go away. It's because the Snyder movies were just too adult. They weren't including enough of the younger audience into the thing, and that's what made the DC Comics characters fun and world-renowned. There was a little bit of no matter how old you were, if you were 13, I mean, listen, that Michael Keaton movie was made for 13-year-olds. That's exactly who it was supposed to be for. That's why all of us who are now 50 love the movie, because it was right in our wheelhouse at that point. And you could argue, you even with Chris Nolan, while he tried to make it a little bit more realistic, it certainly was a little bit more accessible for all audiences. And Snyder was going much, much darker and much, much more adult than a lot of other things that would appeal to people in their 30s and 40s, but not so much kids. He said when he sat down and showed his child's Batman versus Superman, he was scared to watch it. It was just too freaky for his 6-year-old son. And he's like, man, we're missing out on the superhero side of things if we're doing it this way. And so he really enjoyed the role of Batman initially. He wanted that role because he wanted to connect to his kids, and then his kid watched the movie and like, God, they're scared to death of this freaking Batman. That's probably
Daddy,
not
don't
great.
hurt me.
Right. And he said, listen, he did it because he wanted his kids to enjoy some of his movies. He's like, listen, I didn't make Argo for my son. I made Batman for my son.
I thought he made Air for his kid.
Huh?
Or not Air, but that one we watched never mind. I dropped the ball on that. My greatest apologies.
What was that? Now I want to know what the joke was.
The one where he was the basketball coach. He had an alcoholic.
Yeah. Air was the one where he was the Nike executive.
Right.
But you're thinking, I can't even remember the last coach or something like that.
My bad.
It was solid reference.
I said right in the middle of it that I tripped up and I screwed it up.
It's okay. But that is why he thinks the Snyder Batman and Superman did not take off.
Well, it was pretty dark. I mean,
it definitely was.
It was a dark universe.
I would argue Man of Steel is a little bit more accessible to all ages than you have in the world of Batman v Superman. But that's Snyder's kind of thing. It was a dark and sad, which is crazy because when you dive deep down into almost all of Snyder's movies, it's about being a parent and the struggles and doing all those kind of things. That's the messaging between Man of Steel. Batman v Superman is all about Martha. It's your favorite line. And then, there's all these kind of like underlying themes. Why did you say that name? All of those underlying themes that go into those movies are all about parenthood, but they make them really, really dark that kids can't get into it, man.
Yeah.
Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your important stuff.
Go watch Lego Batman.
Are going to go to hell next on the X Rocks.
Here's stories that are incredibly f***ed up. Oh man, we're going to hell.
Would you join me in my own private hell?
The Morning After with Nick and Big J on 100.3 The X Rocks.
To Florida we go for a double whammy for We're Going to Hell, Big J.
The best kind of whammy.
No whammies. Big money.
Yep.
And so we end up going there and we head to a Walmart in the Florida area, Big J. And we come in contact with a woman who is doing something that is not recommended, and that is stealing.
It's not.
Now,
it's illegal. Not even just not recommended.
I'm not much of a shoplifter. I don't know all the tricks of the trade and that kind of thing. But are you familiar with something called the banana trick? This is apparently something that is used throughout shoplifting that is a fairly common occurrence. Do you know what the banana trick is?
Thankfully, no, I don't.
If you had a guess, what would you think the banana trick is?
You stick a banana in your tailpipe? Oh.
Like Beverly Hills Cop?
Yeah.
No.
But
Unfortunately,
your tailpipe is your butt?
No. Nobody's sticking anything anywhere when it comes to bananas.
I don't really know.
So
I have no clue.
I don't know why it got this name, but the banana trick is essentially grabbing a barcode off of a item that is worth less and sticking it on the item that you're actually purchasing.
Okay. Yeah, we had a story of a woman who was an influencer who was doing that, changing the barcode to make it. Yeah.
So we have a situation where that's happening here in Florida. where somebody is, I don't know why it's called a banana trick, because then like bananas, I mean, they have barcodes, but you weigh them, right?
I would think that would, you would have to weigh it.
Yeah. I don't know why it's called a banana trick, but it is. I'm sure maybe back in the day it was because bananas were 10 cents a piece or something, and you would put that on something that's worth $1 or $2, and boom, you'd be saving yourself a lot of money. So she wasn't doing this with produce, to be clear, but she was taking barcodes off of cheaper products and putting them on expensive ones, and then not paying full price and going through the self-checkout. When Walmart Loss Prevention approached her after kind of watching her moves for a while, they realized that she ended up taking about $83 worth of groceries. That's against the law, Big J. So you can't do that.
Stealing.
Right. So they loss prevention people have her in the office, and then she says, well, listen, I do need to go out to, I do need to get out and get something. And they're like, okay. And then she busted out of the loss prevention office, and that's when police were there. So Sebastian, that's the city in Florida where they were. Sebastian police arrested the woman as she was walking out to her car. And as they got to her car, they noticed that, oh my God,
there's a baby in this car.
2 babies in the car.
I was only kidding. No idea.
2 babies in the car. It's like 87 degrees in Florida.
Oh.
Super hot and humid. Are the windows rolled all the way up? Absolutely they are.
What an animal.
So preventing airflow flow from entering into the car. The kids were found between 85 and 6 p.m. and the temperature was around 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Police did report feeling a rush of heavy heat coming from the car when they opened up the door. They noted that there was heavy moisture inside, too. That's a sign of carbon monoxide buildup. That's not great. The good news was, while the kids were sweating heavily when they were pulled from the car, they were okay, all things considered. But because, it's not great, the vitals were normal. But listen, kids were in the car for a very long time because she was also detained for a while, too, while she was trying to steal. She said she didn't think it was a problem leaving the juveniles in the vehicle as long as it was running, but the car didn't have the AC either working or on, so there was no... Basically, she was just pumping her kids full of carbon monoxide.
Terrible.
So that's not great. She was booked into jail on counts of child neglect as well as second-degree petty theft, so she's facing serious charges. So we got ourselves a bad shoplifter and a mom of the year doing all this stuff. So a reminder, don't leave your kids in a hot car, whether the car is running or not. Take them where you're going. And let's make this shoplifting a family affair. Agree or disagree? Baby?
Yeah, bring in the kids. I mean, they're great cover.
The kid was the one switching the tags,
Joe,
right?
he's
Not
like,
me,
I'm
officer.
sorry. I just got these maxed up. I got these 2 dumbass kids who won't leave me alone.
Check the footage.
Sorry. Yeah.
I mean, I thought about leaving them in the car, but...
I heard that's not good to do.
Don't leave your children in the car, please. Don't steal from other places, please. Don't switch tags, please. These are all things that you should know already, but we're just making sure. Morning After with Nick and Big J. Hey, there's your We're Going to Hell story. It is the X-Rocks.
Here's
That is Soundgarden. That is Black Hole Sun here on the Morning After with Nick and Big J. Big J, there is nobody I trust more than you when it comes to opinions about American currency. So I have a question for you.
Should. Yeah.
What are your thoughts about the penny?
Get rid of it.
You want to abolish the penny?
Why do we need the penny?
Can you find in your heart a case to be made for keeping it around?
No.
What is your biggest reason why you would like to get rid of it?
I mean, how often are you using change this day and age?
Okay.
And the cost versus creating them, and they smell weird.
Okay. Well, 42% of Americans think we need to get rid of pennies altogether. So you're in the minority there. But then when you tell people that, hey, it costs more to make a penny than it does for what it's worth, then that number jumps to 57%. Okay?
Sure, you give actual facts about something.
Mm-hmm. And people change their minds. Weird. Why does it work with currency, but not about other things? It's strange.
I don't know.
Now, 30% of Americans think we need to keep the penny because it's important to keep currency of all kinds, and how dare we abolish it, all sorts of stuff. So so I would say a vast majority of Americans are in favor of getting rid of the penny. Now, let me take you up a notch.
Okay.
What do you think about the nickel?
Same story, dude.
Now, why do you want to get rid of the nickel?
Well, my whole thing is, how often are we using change here? And the costs associated with creating them versus what we're using them for.
Now, here's a strange thing.
It's cheaper to make the nickel than in the penny?
No.
Oh.
Despite the overwhelming majority of Americans that say pennies need to go, only 26% of Americans are in favor of nickels going away. And I'm trying to figure out why that number is different.
Yeah, why?
So
Because it's
different.
so much. Oh, it's because it's more? It's like, I got more use for a nickel.
It's worth more, so maybe if you find a nickel on the ground, you're more likely to bend over and pick it up than you would if there was a penny on the ground. Perhaps that's it. But the other side of that coin is, and maybe you were guessing, maybe you don't know this, but the truth is, it also costs more than 5 cents to produce a nickel. So we're paying more for the production of the nickels than they're actually worth, just like the penny. Once you get in the dimes, we're starting to be in the profit range, if you will. It's worth more than what it costs to make dimes and quarters and all those kind of things. So you can have an argument there, but it is strange to see such a drastic drop-off from support of getting rid of something, and the main reason being it costs more to make them. But when you hit them with the nickel, they're like, "No, we got to keep the nickel around," you know? Is it a weird color disparity between it's something silver and something copper, maybe?
I mean, it could be.
That we associate a value to it?
You might think the nickel is worth more.
Right. Well, it is.
But it's,
sure. In terms of what it's actually worth. But again, there's no actual copper and pennies anymore. There's no actual silver and nickels anymore, or nickel for that matter. But it is just one of those deals where maybe there's some sort of weird association with it. But I'm interested in the significant, almost 50% drop-off between people that say get rid of the penny and get rid of the nickel when both of them are the exact same boat. It costs us more to make them and then what they're worth. And yeah, I don't think a lot of people are using change anymore. We've talked about the transition to almost a cashless society.
Yeah.
Is where we are.
I would say, and currently, I mean, I'm not a historian. I'm sure if there's somebody geek out there that knows this information, but I would surmise to say that in the history of the United States, just in general, with the currency that we have, and I'm including in that the nickels, dimes, pennies, and stuff, that we've had those in rotation much longer than most currencies have existed for that period of time. Even going back into ancient cultures where it was kind of like a haphazard type of currency, but then they were still using the real metals at that time. So, I mean, we've had this stuff around a lot longer than most people have had their currency.
So you're saying you've had your time, time to retire currency.
Yeah.
Are you saying, because of your opinion on both the nickel and penny, that we should get rid of all change? You're saying dimes, quarters, all of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think once you get to the quarter in particular, maybe that would be problematic. But I mean, I think change in general is an inconvenience at this point. Like, that's the last thing I want when I go somewhere is to get change. But where am I going to put it? It's in my pants. It's going to end up in the washer. I'm just like, this isn't helping me out.
It is interesting. I think maybe one of the biggest problems that people have faced when you get rid of this kind of stuff is inherently the second you get rid of anything that's change, if something is $1.35 and we get rid of change, there's no way businesses in America round that down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They instantly round everything up, and now everything becomes more expensive because change is no longer part of the equation. That's just the way it's going to work because that's the way our economy works.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is going to go down in price if you get rid of any of these particular dominations of coins. They're all going to go up in price. And so maybe we don't need that right now either.
Well, I'm going to say the prices are going to go up anyway.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And besides, when I go to do my Taco Bell order, they're like, "Do you want to round up?" I'm like, "Sure, go ahead."
Nice. Give it to charity.
Yeah.
Or are you rounding up for employees?
They don't ask you that. It's for usually a specific charity, but I would probably be okay with that too.
That's nice. Morning After with Nick.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
And Big J. There's your currency update. We got some important stuff in Pop Culture Smackdown on the way.
Spanning the globe in search of news. Important stuff.
Launch newsfeed.
On the Morning After with Nick and Big J.
Important stuff brought to you by Inflation Domination. We are about an hour away from your first keyword of the day. Your chance to win another $2,025. We're giving over $2,000 away every single weekday here on the X, thanks to Dollar Loan Center, Dennis Dillon Auto Group, and the Advocates Injury Attorneys. All you have to do is listen for that keyword. Big J's going to give it to you. Then he's going to spell it for you so that you spell it correctly. You send it to us, and boom, you're instantly qualified. And then next thing you know, you're just like Miguel, yesterday's winner of $2,000. And boom, you are living the high life. You're happy. Everything is great. So listen for your keywords. They come your way 4 times a day, 9, 11, 1, and 3. The more you get right, the more opportunities you have to get qualified and get in, and more times your name pops up in the possible drawing. And who knows if you win. Best of luck to everybody. Your first keyword coming up in a little over, about an hour from now. Big J, there's a recent study done at Brown University that showed something interesting in the United States of America. Preventable deaths are on the rise. And have been significantly since the year 2014. The study goes all the way to 2019. And even though in that period of time, the United States of America spends more on health care for individual citizens than any other industrialized nation, we still seem to have a problem staying alive, Big J. Now, if you live in West Virginia, I'm so sorry. That in particular,
one of the worst places ever. It's what we learn here on the show.
Saw the largest increase of avoidable deaths over the last decade. Now, Big J, what qualifies as an avoidable death, in your opinion?
There's a wood chipper there and you don't jump in it. Avoidable.
You're thinking like Darwin Award.
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
No, I would probably say things there where you can, go and get medication for it and it keeps you alive.
That's part of it, absolutely. Things that are medically treatable that we don't do, things that go undiagnosed and we don't know, all of those qualify. Yeah. But this also qualifies for drug-related deaths, suicides, those kind of things also fall into the preventable side of things when it comes to death. The state of New York performed the best among all the states, in case you're curious. Now, state-level policy differences could account for the greater variation between deaths because, sometimes, depending on the state, they won't necessarily classify suicides or drug-related deaths as preventable, even though one would think they could be. And so that's something to keep in mind, according to the study authors. However, they found that no matter what category you decide to put these in, deaths from nearly all major categories are increasing in that particular time. And that's not great, guys. We got to do better. I mean, again, we are spending a ridiculous amount of money on healthcare or health insurance, to be fair. Insurance can still deny you what you could possibly need to stay alive, which is another problem altogether. But it is interesting to me that this situation seems to be a problem as we go up. I think it leans into the mental health discussion that we need to have a talk about consistently, and hopefully we're trying to do that and vocalize that on this very show. It's very important to prioritize that because that can lead to dark places, and that's never good. And then there's all sorts of other things like, if something is wrong, making sure you go and get it checked out, or if you are prescribed a medication, maybe it's a good idea to get that medication to make sure that you're okay. All of these things need to be talked about and discussed so that there are less preventable deaths. Agree or disagree?
Totally.
So think about it, won't you? I mean, I think everybody's trying to do their part. They may not even know that they have something going on, but it is certainly an interesting statistic. Big J, some NFL moves yesterday. Some big names that were still on the market are no longer on the market. Russell Wilson, who has bounced around over the last couple of years, he is now your new quarterback for the New York Giants. I'm sure Jameis Winston probably wasn't that happy about that signing yesterday. But,
that's right.
Russell Wilson looks like he's going to be QB1. They signed him to a one-year deal. And then the Patriots coughed up some pretty big money for Stephon Diggs, who it's been a while since he's been super impactful. But the Patriots are counting on him to be them. Signed him to a 3-year, $69 million contract.
Well, they have the most to spend under the cap, and they've quietly been building quite the team.
Would you argue they overpaid for him, though? I would.
Based on how he did last year, for
last
sure.
2 years.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's coming off of a knee injury. I mean, he missed a good chunk of the year last year, too. But listen, the Patriots do desperately need a number one receiver. Diggs has proven in the past he can be that. If he recovers well and he has good chemistry with Drake May, who knows what happens?
He sure talks a lot like it.
Well, sure, why not? That's what wide receivers do. Mm-hmm. Big J, I've got terrible news. If you were looking for a movie on the video game Street Fighter, Sony has said that they were getting ready to make one. Of course, they already had one starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, but now they're pretending like that doesn't even exist, Big J. They wanted
good reason
to do a remake of it, but now they have indefinitely postponed the latest film adaptation of it. Now, it's unclear whether the product will just be delayed or permanently canceled, but they have removed it from Sony's release calendar. The franchise has been around since 1986. As a video game, it has sold over 55 million copies. If you do get a chance to somehow stumble upon Jean-Claude Van Damme Street Fighter, I do highly recommend it. It is a terrible movie, but it is so much fun to watch, because it's one of those movies that are so bad, it's just a really good time. Street Fighter definitely falls in that category. You know, by the way, Raul Julia is fantastic in it. That guy is eating up all the scenery around him, and it's great. It's great. I like it.
You like Street Fighter, the original movie?
I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's a terrible movie, but I have a blast watching it. It is very funny to me. It is not a comedy. I laugh throughout Street Fighter. I think it's a fantastic film to watch when you're just, I want to throw something on in the background and laugh at how bad something is.
Well, I think that's any Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. No offense. Oh, come on, man.
Come on. You're telling me that what is it? Kickboxer is a funny movie?
No, well, I mean, just some of the lines.
Funny? Come on, no way.
Come on, some of
the slow motion faces are funny.
Dumb. I mean, it's like Lionheart. I mean, it's just the slow motion kicks to the face, and I mean, just
Universal Soldier makes you laugh.
Oh my God.
Time Cop makes you giggle, Big J. Give me a break.
Double Trouble or whatever it was.
It's not Double Trouble, I promise. I don't know what movie you're thinking of. Where he was a twin?
Yeah.
I don't remember that one.
I think he did it a couple times.
That's Sudden Impact? Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your important stuff. Your Pop Culture Smackdown next on the X Rocks.
Pop Culture Smackdown. Right. On the Morning After with Nick and Big J.
And let's hook you up with some tickets, baby. Morning After prize pack style. We have a couple great shows coming to the Rev Center next week. April 1st. That's a Tuesday, friends. Machine Head going to be at the Rev Center. We'll put on a fantastic show. Guarantee you that. And the next night, another band will put on a hell of a show, Under Oath, on April 2nd at the Rev Center. So both of these tickets can be yours. You just need to beat Nick in Pop Culture Smackdown. And, you know, he's pretty good at this.
I don't know about that. 208-287-1003 is the number
writing the questions.
You need to call if you'd like to play Pop Culture Smackdown. Big J, you got some questions?
I do.
Then we need to contest it. Hello, the X.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. What's your name, please?
Alan.
All right, Alan. Best of luck to you, sir.
Quentin Tarantino has only directed one sequel. Which movie had that sequel? Was it Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, or The Hateful Eight?
Kill Bill.
Right. Kill Bill is correct, Nick. In Kill Bill, Uma Thurman's character is often referred to as the bride, but her character's name was revealed in Volume 2. Do you remember what it was?
Dorothy.
That is way off. No,
Really?
It is not. It's not Dorothy. That's Wizard of Oz.
No, I know, but what was her name?
Beatrix Kiddo.
I knew it was like an older name. I don't know why. I knew that. I don't know why Dorothy popped into my head.
Because in Volume 1, they like bleep out her name.
Yes, they do.
It was so weird.
Never explained why they ever bleeped out her name, just that they did. Yeah. Well, listen, hey, I don't know if you've seen an interview or two. Quentin Tarantino's a weird guy.
Uh-huh.
He does weird things.
You
ever see all the feet shots he has in movies? Weird guy.
He loves the feet, especially Uma Thurman.
Hey, Alan, congratulations, man. You got tickets to go check out Machine Head and also Under Oath back-to-back at the Rev Center. Hang on one second. We'll hook you up with both pairs of those tickets. See, I told you. I'm not perfect, and certainly that is the case.
I dig deep for that one, too.
Morning After with Nick and Big J. We will have a run of headlines. They're going to happen next on the X Rocks.
Here's traffic inside the TD. The Morning After with Nick and Big J.
Headlines are as follows. When a win isn't a win, HOA fight, and, okay.
When a win isn't a win.
A Texas woman who has a winning lottery ticket may never see the $83.5 million prize that she won. Now, the woman has not been publicly identified, but she purchased the ticket on an app called Jackpocket. Are you familiar with this app, Big J?
No.
Now, apparently, it's a app that lawmakers are trying to ban. And Jackpocket buys lottery tickets on people's behalf for a fee. But some Texas lawmakers believe this service is illegal. As of right now, it's not. Everybody's played by the rules, and hopefully she'll get her money. But essentially, it's one of those deals where it's almost like a dog walking service. Like, you can't make it to the convenience store to buy your lottery ticket, so somebody buys a ticket on your behalf and gives you that ticket. But because you didn't purchase it yourself, they're starting to cry foul on whether or not you won the actual lottery. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but also, wouldn't you be uncomfortable with the fact that somebody else has your winning ticket?
Well, you get the ticket before the drawing is done.
Oh, okay.
So
how does that work?
It's basically they're running an errand for you, essentially.
Oh, so it has to be local. So it's not a...
This is correct.
Okay.
And so that's the problem. And so they're deciding whether or not they're going to pay out until a full investigation is over. But it is an interesting set of circumstances.
Why do they care? Whoever has the ticket has the ticket. They're the winner.
I don't know. It's another good question I don't have an answer for. I don't know if like they're against the app in general.
It's not
or
cheating. They're buying a lottery ticket.
I don't know. But imagine, by the way, I mean, is there a worse feeling in the world if you're the dude that picks up this chore, runs to the store for this woman, buys a lottery ticket that you have in your hand, and then you drop it off and you know that was $83 million?
Well, you would hope that they would be like, hey, give them a little something. You know what I mean? Like I would. But I won $83 million.
I mean, do you know the people? Like, let's say, like, do you know the person that DoorDashed for you last time? Can you go up and look up that history?
Is DoorDash bringing me $83 million?
Well, you don't know. They're just running. I mean, how many? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know if you've won or not.
I would say that I would recognize a person if they showed up at the door going, hey.
But what if they just drop it off at your door and they don't see you there? You know, like if you get grocery delivery.
That's a good point.
I'm just saying that I don't think I'd sleep at night if that were me. HOA fight or okay.
Okay.
Big J, more and more men are seeking beard transplants. Now, if you're not familiar, a beard transplant involves pulling hair from the back of your head and inserting them and grafting them onto your face. Now, the Harley Straight Hair Clinic in New York says that the procedure has tripled in interest since 2020. He's now doing up to 100 transplants a day annually. And there's actually a new form where the beard has become very, very important. If you can't grow one, it's considered a sign of weakness. And so it's important that somebody should be able to do that. However, other surgeons are saying that it's not a good option because, especially if you lack coverage, there's a very high risk that the transplant will not look natural if you're talking about doing a full face coverage, according to other surgeons. So do the beard transplant at your own risk, I suppose. But that's how you got your beard. And so you're going to be doing endorsements
Plus
for this
it's
soon.
different kind of hair.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah. I mean, beard hair is much more pubis than the hair on your head. So it'd be a very different kind of look than what you're going for. So something to keep in mind.
Stuff ain't going to match.
The carpet will match the curtains, and that's a problem.
But only part of the curtain. Not the whole thing.
Yeah, can you imagine if the hair from the back of your head was now your beard hair? That'd be really,
I mean,
really
I
weird,
need some of my beard hair on the top of my head.
Maybe they
but
can
it's
do
a
reverse
different
beard
color.
transplant.
Like there's some different coloring and
yeah, I mean, and listen, like if you had your beard hair on top of your head, you're talking about a Trumpian comb over that I'm not sure you could pull off. No offense.
I don't want to. I don't want to pull it off.
Wrap it up with HOA fight. Big J, we love HOAs on this show.
No,
Agree
we
or disagree?
don't. We hate them.
Scott Fitness has lashed out against his HOA after he was fined $50 for having his garbage cans exposed. How dare you, Scott Fitness?
Cans?
They said either put your trash cans in the garage or put them or erect a fence around them, but you can't just leave them out on the side of your house. Now, Scott Fitness, of course, uses his garage as his home gym. He doesn't have room for his garbage cans.
No, of course not.
So to get back at the association, Big J, Scotty has constructed a black bat house on his lawn. In his area, bat sanctuaries are protected, and the HOA can't tell him to get rid of it. Viewers seem to cheer the pettiness, but that might be too pettiness. Now, no bats have moved into his bat sanctuary yet, but it's a pretty big, gigantic eyesore that he has built to kind of piss off the HOA. And, I mean, that's the kind of pettiness a lot of people can get behind. I don't know if I'm willing to make that commitment just because they want me to move in my garbage cans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've gotten letters from my HOA for really dumb stuff. So I've been in that particular thing.
For existing.
I
own a house. How dare you?
I still have the letter from the HOA for having a singular weed growing in my driveway. One weed that was gone by the time that I got the letter. And there was a picture of one weed in my driveway. And I was like, are you bleeping kidding me?
That's the kind of thing that could start a war. I mean, how do you just sit by and let that go?
Well, it was already gone. So I was like, how can I be mad? But I mean, that means like somebody in the HOA is walking their dog or something, saw a singular, like it was like a leaf, like an inch big, poking out of a crack in my driveway. And they're like, you're supposed to take care of stuff like this. And I'm like,
my blood would boil. My blood would boil.
I was so angry. But I'd already taken care of it. There was nothing to be angry about anymore. But I was like, who is doing this with their time that they care that much about a singular leaf in my driveway?
I'd hunt them down.
Meanwhile, across the
them
street,
down.
we have a neighbor that has, like, their car's been on blocks for like 3 months. I have no idea
They're
what's happening.
probably
there.
the HOA president.
You're probably right. Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your headlines. You're up to date on everything. It is the X-Rocks. Papa Roach, even if it kills me, here on the Morning After with Nick and Big J. And I certainly hope that if you're taking part in the bracket challenge across the country, it's not killing you. But there's certainly some awards if you can do it correctly. Yes, Big J?
Yeah, absolutely. And Warren Buffett, famous for being a gajabillionaire and helping people get rich. He has a company called Berkshire Hathaway. And for decades and decades, he's hosted a little contest for his employees and offering up a big prize to whoever can get the perfect bracket, Nick, $1 million. But recently, in fact, this past year, he said, quote, "I'm getting older. I want to give away $1 million to somebody while I'm still around as chairman." So he changed the rules and adjusted it so that if somebody could predict the first 32 games of the first round.
It was just the first round?
Yeah, the first round.
Oh, my God.
That they would get $1 million. And it finally was successful. Somebody managed to do it. Actually, a few people managed to do it. The worker who won the jackpot correctly guessing 31 of their 32 first-round games. Now, several others, the 12 contestants ultimately got 31 of the 32 games right. The winner lasted the longest without making a mistake, though. So he's the one who got $1 million, and the others got 100 gur each.
So it wasn't even a perfect bracket after the first round. It was just somebody who had the most correct.
Yes.
Ended up getting $1 million. So he just wanted to give away $1 million. So it boils
yeah,
down
but
to.
he's like, damn it, this is not working. That would be the time to jump on it. I mean, the first round, that's unpredictable, I think.
I was looking, and according to ESPN, after the first day of the tournament, there was 36,000 perfect brackets still remaining after day one. So I know that there are that many people playing in Warren Buffett's little bracket pool, but it's not easy, but it's certainly doable to get a perfect bracket.
How many brackets are there, though?
Oh, there were over 3 million that played.
3 million, and so what's the percentage of that? 36,000.
Not a lot, but I'm just
small.
saying it's much easier than getting through. Like now, through the second round, we're at the Sweet 16 now, and of those 36,000, there are now 0 perfect brackets that remain.
Yeah.
So it's hard,
Yeah.
but first day stuff you can do if you fill out enough brackets.
I don't know who this person is. They could work at a smaller, part of the job there at Berkshire. They work at a place called a subsidiary called Flight Safety International. But, you work in the finance area. You already probably got some good money.
Yeah, nobody's probably hurting to make a living working at
I'm like,
Warren Buffett's company. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But listen, $1 million is nothing to sneeze at. Neither is 100 gur. So you'll take that as a bonus no matter what you do, I imagine.
Have you ever won a bracket?
Yeah, I won a bracket here.
Money.
I won money here.
Oh. Pete let you win?
The second to last year before Pete's bracket retired, when Syracuse won the national championship, I had them winning it all, and I won the bracket that year. And oh, by the way, I know of 3 people that still owe me $20. That did not pay their bill, their actual entry fee for the bracket. And then Pete was like, "I can't get the money out of him. It's up to you to track it down." And now 2 of them no longer work here.
Yeah,
So
you'll never get that.
I was, of course, I knew that from the very beginning. But I did win a bracket challenge here once. I needed Syracuse to win it all, and they did, and I was victorious, and it felt great. You don't even care about this stuff.
No,
so there's no way.
I was always bullied and berated into joining the bracket when I was here at work. So.
And obviously, your life isn't, impacted because of it, right?
Yeah, it's been crushed.
You never won any money at all, just out of sheer luck?
No.
Because I know you don't know that much about college basketball, so you weren't picking winners based on knowledge.
Not a damn thing, bro.
I couldn't even say it was probably on mascots, because I wonder how you would do in that category. Do you think you do okay?
No.
Okay.
Because what are the mascots doing?
Were you just basing it on seeds then? Like basically
Chalk,
what was going on?
Chalk, probably.
Yeah.
Or some crazy thing like a Boise State type of situation or Montana State, something like that.
Your personal connection to a college going far. Understood. People do that all the time.
Yeah, they don't win.
Morning After with Nick and Big J. We got your bad impressions. They're next on the X-Rocks.
Luck it. Package, baby. Tickets to next week's shows at the Revolution. We're talking Machine Head on the 1st of April. That's a Tuesday, friends. And then Under Oath is the next night. on the 2nd at the Rev Center. So we'll get you lined up with these tickets here if you can figure out bad impressions today. A fictional character, Nick.
208-287-1003. Big J is going to throw 3 clues at you. It's supposed to point you in the direction of that fictional character. If you can figure out who that is in 3 clues or less, congratulations. Those tickets to 2 of those concerts are completely yours, and hopefully you feel pretty good about that. To the phones we go. Hello, the X.
How's it going?
Good, man. You're up first. Good luck to you, sir.
Yeah, fictional character here, okay? In the 60s, I started making martinis cool. Briefly, I did make Heineken cool as well in the 2000s.
Next one.
I try to wear a tuxedo to everything I do. Maybe just look at it as my uniform.
James Bond.
Yeah!
Nailed it. Good job, man. Hang on 1 second. We'll hook you up with those Under Oath and tickets to Machine Head. What was clue 3 for fun?
I have a license to kill, and I'm British.
And why is James Bond in the news again?
All right, so Amazon is trying to fast-track James Bond. Now that they've got the old producers out of the way, they've got what seems to be a blank check, Nick, and they've got a couple producers who are now in charge at Amazon over there for the James Bond IP, and that is Amy Pascal and Harry Potter stalwart David Hyman. So Amy Pascal, she has produced a bunch of movies. I'm somewhat like, okay, some of them aren't the best movies, and some of them are pretty damn good. So we'll see what she does. Mostly her work has been in the Spider-Man part of Sony, but that also included Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and No Way Home, some of those things. But she's also been part of Venom and some other things. Not so great.
Do they have any people that they have shortlisted yet?
They aren't saying, but they are saying this is one thing that is going to have to be done. They want it out by 2027 at the very latest.
Do they have a script even?
Who knows how these things come together. And the next thing on the agenda is probably to find themselves a new James Bond. And, Jeff Bezos, who is the guy who said, hey, make the Broccolis go away. And they gave them $1 billion, the old producers, to get them to, back off what they wanted. They didn't want anybody messing around with some of this stuff. And they put up a bunch of kind of like, I guess, polls, if you will. And overwhelmingly, the answer that everybody was agreed on would be a great James Bond, Henry Cavill. He's a little older now. I don't know if that's going to happen, but man, that would be pretty fantastic.
But you're in the Aaron Taylor Johnson camp, right?
I wouldn't mind him either.
Okay. But, we will see. Whoever's going to do is going to have to commit to a ridiculously long picture deal, I imagine.
Maybe. Yeah, we'll see.
It's not going to be one-offs or two-offs. I'm sure they're going to commit to something. But you are kind of giving them the benefit of the doubt. I know you're not a huge fan of them taking over, but you got to see what they make, right? And then decide to hate it or love it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they did pretty good with Reacher, didn't they?
Yeah.
Better than what you had before. Sure.
I don't know. I mean, I still love the movies.
Okay.
So I think that whole thing. But here's the thing. Again, James Bond conditioned me to be okay with that because there's been numerous actors who've played the role of James Bond. Mm-hmm. So, having somebody play a role, in a movie version and a TV version, I'm okay with that. Bouncing around, and we'll see if they decide they want to keep it all in one particular, person for that going forward in the next few years.
Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your bad impressions. We'll wrap up the show here next on the X. That is brand new Ghost here on the Morning After with Nick and Big J. Wrapping things up for this Wednesday. Thanks for hanging out with us. We did get a chance to give away some tickets to Under Oath and Machine Head. We're going to continue that tomorrow if that's okay with everybody. We also had a chance to talk about why maybe the penny should go away in Big J's opinion. But once we get out of that, it starts to lose favorability. And so that becomes a little bit of an issue, Big J. So something to keep in mind. And we also had a chance to talk about how good or bad your bracket is. And no matter how good it is, you're not getting $1 million from Warren Buffett. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, everybody. But it does leave you the floor, Big J.
Yeah, Nick, imagine getting on a plane, you're on a flight, and there's no violence, there's no upsetting, but you're about 2 hours, you're cruising altitude. And the captain comes on the line and says, hey, we have to turn around. Someone has lost their cell phone. It's a real thing that really happened.
I'd probably be the one being violent in the plane. Like, what are you talking about?
See, they couldn't find this passenger's cell phone.
Who cares?
Here's the reason they care is because of the the lithium batteries in phones that can explode. So it was a safety issue.
Listen, at this point, like, they're not going to let us fly with our phones. I mean, like, I can't even fathom that being a reason why that would turn around. I would be livid.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could be talked out from how angry I would be. Was the phone on the plane? These are things I would need to know.
Yeah.
The
you'd have to follow
uncertainty.
up in person on that one.
I guess so. But, like, that's bonkers. Where was it going?
It was a flight that was leaving France and going to an archipelago about 6 hours away.
Oh, yeah. No, I'd be flipping out. Morning After with Nick and Big J. Coming up in a few minutes, Jason Drew is going to join you. We will see you tomorrow. Have a good one. It's the X-Rocks.
Stuffed crust pizza.